Well, you and I do those, we do work in a mindfulness. And I must say, we're having this conversation here, August the 7th in 2019 in Copenhagen, because we were talking about having this conversation for a while. We wanted to record something when we were talking, because we have these endless conversations, we can't stop talking, right? So, but it was an article that was published in Volkskrant in Holland, which is the Guardian of Holland, so to speak. And it was a really nasty article, only based on stupid hearsay out there, but also I did call you when Me Too happened. Remember Me Too happened? Yeah. And I did call you, warn you, and said that knowing what we would probably lead to, and I was very critical of Me Too in Sweden, not critical of women being able to finally tell the truth.
No,
totally
totally have that right.
But totally against the way it was organized. The lack of strategy meant that there would be a lot of innocent men who'd be accused of things they'd never done. And that would ultimately kill the credibility. For all sake, you know, a couple of years later in Sweden, Me Too is dead and over. It's basically just court cases now. Court cases of men who are accusing women of having been innocently accused by lynch mobs. And it doesn't look good for feminism at all. It's probably going to be feminism's first backlash, because that's not the way you actually, as a woman, take power and speak for yourself, right? You don't do it through lynch mobs, you do it on your own.
Because I heard there's a
But I told you when that happened, they're going to go after every Tantra guru they can get their hands on.
Which they are, they're just systematically going through.
That's exactly what they've done since. So people who made a career out of being front figures in the Me Too movement eventually became these new sort of moral crusaders who basically go after anything dealing with sexuality.
Right.
So you even became, dare I say, victim. You're proud. you were a victim in the sense that you're a victim when you get hit by a car, right? Somebody decided to go after you, or a couple of people coincided in the way they went after you. So, and I felt terrible that folks could publish that piece. I thought it was crap journalism of the worst kind. There wasn't any fact checking going on, anything like that. I just saw the sensationalism in it, the newspapers they wanted to sell, and nothing else. So I should say that, and I mean that to folks. I think it's a shame they published that piece, and it means they killed the credibility in my eyes. But for you,
a lot of people felt that as well. I was surprised how many people had that view. It's like, oh, okay, it's maybe the tide is turning a little bit. People are a little bit.
You did speak up.
Yes.
Honor to you for doing that, because one of the funniest things, strategically speaking, if you're a cynical strategist, and I'm also a strategist in the military, as you probably can tell. So lynch mobs in the past at least killed their victims. When they went after somebody, they would kill them, but they don't kill people any longer. It's like they think they can just kill their reputation, and somehow that will work. The funny thing is that people like you and me, if we get attacked, we're around. And we can still write and we can still express ourselves. But you were very, very reluctant to speak out in public.
Yes.
You're a teacher, and the TNT family means tons to you, and you fostered them now to take over and run the show, so you can be a specialist in what you're good at and have a good life and all that. And we can hang out together and date each other.
Free time.
Yes. Like we love to. But we were really looking forward to that, and some of these pieces are there. So number one, how did you react? Besides what you already told us yourself brilliantly in front of the camera and defended your integrity, right? But beyond that, what do you think is really going on in society now when anybody out there is a Tantra teacher, no matter how needy they are also being persecuted in this way?
Yeah, it's not only Tantra teachers, there's a lot of spiritual teachers, a lot of where there is some kind of hierarchy, or especially if there's a man off at the top, they're attacked, and it seems to be quite systematic. It's almost like, wow, who hasn't been attacked lately? And I think the more that happens, the less credibility. I mean, is everyone completely wrong? Are we all like dark forces and all this sort of stuff? It's like it becomes very uncredible in that. So, I was very reluctant to speak in the past. I mean, it's part of being a public...
And I understand that, right?
Being a public person, you always get flack. I always say to people, if you don't have a hate group, you're just not popular. You're not famous enough yet. The Kardashians or whoever it is, everyone who seems to stick their head out and be a little bit famous seems to get their head chopped off. And I think it's becoming more and more prevalent. And the danger with social media is that slander. The legal system relies on preponderance of evidence. You have to have some evidence to make claims against people. Now, if someone doesn't like someone else, they can just say whatever they like, print it on the internet, and a certain number of people just believe it because it's on the internet, or use that to justify their kind of prejudice against a person and just say, oh, but I've read that you're a bad person, and that without actually having a fact checking.
Sometimes they don't even believe it themselves, but they just want to attack it anyway because they're so bitter at life or whatever that they want to go after people. So they believe it, admit in private they don't believe it, but because it's published somewhere, they still use it as some kind of a weapon and attack you. That's how distorted things are.
Yeah, so when, the first round, we had a few disgruntled employees. We went from this, hierarchical model, and there's, we're at the startup, and we were a very disruptive startup, very kind of controversial. And there I am at the kind of top of the pyramid, but having a hierarchy is inherently a little bit dangerous, because you can have things like the group think, you can have the sort of power and things. So I kind of saw the problems with that, so I was like, okay, let's go to a flat structure.
Alex saw it, if Alex didn't.
Exactly. Let's go to a flat structure. Let's get a network of talented people that can fluidly move into these different positions. Someone can lead a domination workshop, someone can lead the women's group, someone lead a men's group. There are different roles for those people. And we had some ex-employees that wanted to keep that hierarchy and stay at the top, and the technology of the new Tantra is very valuable. We still have sold out workshops even after 9 years.
Well, I told you that you won't have a problem selling tickets, but if you don't go out in public and defend your integrity, you're going to spend half the teaching courses trying to explain what you're doing. So by defending your integrity, that's settled.
So
we don't even have to talk about it today, which is great. So we can move on to other topics, and that's why you did a great job of defending your integrity.
And that's why, because it moved from just some disgruntled employees who started their own schools and basically tried libeling us and printing stuff to try and get more business, it moved to a newspaper picked up those sources as if they were fact checked and real, and then started anonymously quoting people who we knew who they were, luckily, and we could give them a lot. But the thing is, we gave them so much information on this, and they hardly changed anything in those articles.
Of course, I couldn't care less.
No, it was kind of like, what? And to be on the inside of it.
They were doing the Me Too Lynch mob in Holland too. That was like a selling thing for that newspaper. They didn't get, at least on court cases yet, that really they had to pay for what they published back then, and now they're going after people like you. I mean, one day this has to stop, and I think we need to expose the fact that this is not journalism.
But it's so interesting to be on the inside of that and kind of know it and seeing it happening. It's like, wow. I mean, how do people justify that level of hate and think it's kind of spiritual? I mean, there's so much competition, and judgment between different spiritual schools. I mean, isn't that kind of a paradox in itself? We're supposed to be spiritual, unjudgmental, kind of support each other.
Considering what we've talked about is that people of a bad sex life are resentful against life in general.
Especially those that have a good sex life.
Hatred, and they love the hate. So that's one of the problems we're encountering here, because we are working with sexuality. That's exactly what we become the targets. So.